My name is Ed Accura, and I'm the producer of a film called Blacks Can't Swim. I'm also co-founder of the Black Swimming Association. You're probably wondering why I'm sat here indoors in a life jacket. Well, stay tuned and stand by, because it will all make sense.
The Black Swimming Association doesn't just exist to drive forward participation, inclusion and diversity of BAMEs and aquatics. It exists to highlight the value of swimming as an essential life-saving skill, to educate on water safety and drowning prevention within the Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities in the UK. The BSA is a voice. It's a strategic partner, a change agent and an advocate for all things aquatics for the BAME community in the UK.
I never learned how to swim as a child. When I was in Ghana, there wasn't a need to learn how to swim. There wasn't a drive or anything. I can remember once there was a party in one of my classmates' house and they had a pool. So I asked my mum if I could learn how to swim so I could go to the party. I was told that it's not a priority. My education, numeracy, English, that's basically what I needed to concentrate on. Swimming I could do anytime, so I didn't know how to swim. And as I grew older, it became easier to just hide behind the stereotypes and the stigmas and the myths. And I'm sure at some point in my life, I started believing that I couldn't swim because I'm Black. The sad thing is that there's a lot of people out there right now that still believe that. So why did I learn how to swim? My daughter. So I have a 9-year-old daughter, Lolita. She can swim. She's been swimming since she was about 2 or 3. My wife insisted on that. It dawned on me that if anything ever happened to her whilst we were by water on holiday, by the swimming pool, and I couldn't save her or couldn't help her, I would never forgive myself. And that was the single main reason why I decided to learn how to swim. Drowning. The idea that water can hold you up is so alien. I know you might say, look at ships and boats and all that, but still, I feel more comfortable when my feet touches the ground. And so when I was learning how to swim, just thinking about me being on top of water and the water holding me up is just alien to me.
Well, I think your first step is to go down to your local leisure centre and inquire about their Learn to Swim programme. I'd always advise that if you can't swim and you want to learn to swim, that you go through a Learn to Swim programme with a qualified instructor rather than trying to teach yourself how to swim, or doing some sort of online tutorial where you get the information and then you try it out in the pool by yourself. One, because it's a lot safer in a controlled environment with a qualified instructor. Not only that, it will be much more of a pleasant experience, and you'll learn a lot quicker under the guidance of a qualified swimming teacher. So yeah, head down to your local leisure centre. Don't forget, you'll need goggles, a hat and swim trunks or a swimming costume. Just like any phobia, it isn't going to be easy to overcome. However, it is achievable. And I've seen lots of people, over the last 10 years who have turned up to swimming lessons absolutely petrified of being in the water. People who have had past experiences where they've had family members who had been in difficulty, or themselves had been in difficulty when they was a child and hadn't been into a water pool scenario ever since. And they've managed to overcome it and come through it and learn to swim and feel comfortable in the water. So it is achievable. The main thing I'd say is you need to enroll into a swimming lesson program, and you need to be honest with your instructor. Pull your instructor to the side before the lesson, tell them exactly how you're feeling about the water and give them a little bit of background on the history and go from there. Now, swimming has many good role models. It's a very good sport in that aspect. Swimming takes a lot of commitment, and hard work to get to the top of the game. And, a few people that I would flag up, on an elite level would be people like Jazz Carlin, Adam Peaty, Amy Wilmot, You know, there's a long list of real good professionals within the game who have all got really good backstories to their come up as a swimmer. And alongside that, you've got people like Ed Accura, who holds the world record for swimming across the deepest part of the ocean, even though, you know, he only learnt to swim as an adult. So there's loads of people out there that you can research and look up and use as a good example. Ideally, you'd want to join a swimming club as young as possible to give you the best chance of progressing through the ranks and learning all the techniques and skills required to make it to the top level. Once you join a swimming club and you get to the age of 9, you'll be able to start competing at Swim England competitions. And from there, you'll be aiming to move up the pyramid, compete at county competitions, and then race fast enough and get fast enough times to qualify for regional competitions, and then onto national competitions, and then eventually onto your international competitions where you're looking at things like the World Championships and the Olympics. It's a great pathway, and I'd fully recommend it if it's something that you wanted to do.
Stressed, very stressed and scared. I may add that the first day in the pool was the last day of shooting of a film called Blacks Can't Swim. So not only was I stressed with producing a film for the very first time, I was also scared about getting into the pool. That day was very symbolic. Stressed and scared. I got rid of the fear. So I'm not carrying that baggage of fear around with me everywhere I go when I'm near water, for instance on holidays. The fear that I carried around with me, even though it was not a conscious thing, was very dominant. Because when I would go on holiday, I would never go near the water. I would stay on the beach and look after the bags and towels. I would never go in the pool, and it did limit me. So from that aspect, it really has changed my life. There's nothing for me to compare it to because I never learned how to swim as a child. So I don't really know. And it's something I wanted to do. So I just got on with it. I'm not at the stage yet. I'm still learning. I'm not at the stage whereby I can say I'm 100% comfortable in the water. Well, as long as I have my instructor with me, I'm okay. But I'm yearning for the day whereby I can get into the water by myself and not worry about anything and swim 50 meters and back and all of that. But it's coming.
I think one of the first ones is affordability. Swimming is known to be a rich sport, especially if you go into it competitively. It's much more expensive than sports that only require a pair of trainers or maybe even a ball and just some outdoor space. Secondly, accessibility. Swimmings tend to be located in areas that have more money. And if you don't belong to these types of communities, you're going to have to commute to get there. On top of, again, the entrance fee, which comes back to affordability. Then you have some cultural reasons, like hair and modesty. Some women don't feel comfortable being so physically exposed and in the presence of men. And a lot of women and men in the community don't feel comfortable getting their hair wet because many of us spend so much money and time investing in our hair. Having it ruined is just not very appealing. And yeah, so there are some barriers that do affect the Black community that don't affect many who aren't part of the community.
So what I suggest is using protective stylings such as braid or a plait, anything to just keep your hair more protected and less of it in contact with the water as much as possible. And then finding suitable cap, scarf, any waterproof like headgear to use whilst you swim. When you get out, give it a good rinse, good shower off, and then just put your product in that you would as normal. And honestly, it will be absolutely fine. It's not as bad as you think or as you anticipate it to be. Like, you can protect it well and you can keep your afro looking good whilst you swim.
Yeah, my Saturday mornings. My Saturday mornings before the lockdown were the days at the time where I have my coaching sessions. So getting up very early in the morning and making my way all the way to London Bridge to learn how to swim. But no, I wouldn't say so. It's all honesty now. It's been a great journey so far. I've learned a lot, and I've got to make the film as well, and got to meet some great people along the way. We have a journey. We still have a journey. We have a job to do. By the time I finish this, hopefully there will not be a disproportionate amount of black people not swimming. Probably a couple of lessons before the lockdown. So probably my last lesson or the one before that. I was having a problem with breathing and swimming. Now swimming, coming up and breathing, going back down again. So if I get in the pool, I can swim underwater or above water. But as soon as it gets to the point where I need to where I need to breathe, then it just all goes to pot. But I just suddenly broke through. I broke through and it was like, wow, finally done it. But then coronavirus had a different idea altogether. So yeah. So hopefully when we all go back to when all the leisure centres open and we go back to swimming, hopefully I haven't forgotten that and I'll be able to continue. Don't panic. Anyone can float, regardless of size, age, colour or creed. Anyone and everyone can float. You just got to learn how to. And to me, that gives me a lot of confidence, because if you're in a situation whereby you're stuck out to sea or somewhere, you can just float on your back. Still haven't mastered it yet, but it's on my agenda. I could have said my mum's advice, but it's probably not. When I was growing up, my mum's idea of water safety was stay away from the water. If you stay away from the water, you will not drown. I can remember bringing it up not too long ago. I said, Mum, you remember when you said stay away from the water, you don't need to learn how to swim, just stay away from the water and you'll be okay. She goes, yeah. I said, well, what do you think now? What's your thoughts now? And she said, well, you're still alive, aren't you? It's a feature documentary about a black man whose fear and anxiety after watching the news reports and seeing that there's going to be a whole heap of flooding coming his way, decides to buy a life jacket and wear it everywhere he goes. In the bath, to bed, to work, everywhere.
Hey, Frank. It's your friend, Mr. Society. I'd like to take this opportunity to say well done. Well done for being the poster boy for black non-swimmers.
Culturally, we just don't see it as a priority.
Hey, you man, is that what I think it is? Yo, hold on, G.
The man's natural habitat is not in the water, it's on land.
I think if you ask a vast majority of black people, can you swim 500 yards? They'll look at you like you're from another planet.
My hair, it shrinks up and frizzes. I don't even want to go swimming anymore.
On Saturdays, we have this thing that goes swimming or horse riding. And I did pick swimming once, but then I nearly drowned.
Why are you wearing that life jacket? It's ridiculous. Just learn to swim.
Well, I can't swim. You can swim, so you're okay.
Whatever. Man can swim.
I did my utmost to avoid swimming.
I'm not going to learn to swim. What, at this age, with these heavy bones, you know what they say about black people?
A lot of black people don't see it as a sport thing, so no, a lot of people want to take parts in it.
Because obviously black women, it's sometimes an issue to deal with their hair after swimming.
I learned by myself, not through my parents, because my parents never pushed us to go swimming.
I learned to swim because it was part of my curriculum in Barnet. It was not part of my curriculum in Tottenham.
Make a film called Black Can Swim. Soundtrack. My journey, my story. In a floating ring. Is it a cultural or physical thing?